Ah, yeah, I know my last video was the most clickbaity ever. The 34-year-old version. Everyone would think that's me. At some point I probably will be. Because there's so many things happening that I just don't, as I've said, relationships is not my thing. I'm trying to move away from things that are totally broken and kind of create balance within myself at least. Because a lot of people just throwing away self-love and they end up in a shitty position. Yeah, if you want to change your position, all I have to do is move your current money, current currency into cryptocurrency. Invest basically, which is a risk I wouldn't recommend. However, investing and jumping out of that, it's almost like you have to constantly jump from the most popular thing to another most popular thing. Every single time something grows new and better, you gotta jump on that. It's like YouTube and Patreon even, that these platforms just gonna collapse. I think it's possible, but I would wish that the collapse would happen with the Unity source, because that's the most obvious thing to do, and at the same time it's the most difficult system to create, where you can already jump on it. It's so stupid. Only if you're a creator you can do that. Otherwise, everyone is left out. The super dream world is left out. It's gonna leave you out. So you guys need to be on the edge. I don't really care, because I'm just trying to survive and become the creator of something that's gonna grow big. So that's my goal. But other than that, there's some things to learn about life. And I definitely need to do that as well. More so than anyone else. Everyone else can just jump from one position to another. It's just jumping is gonna be very tiresome. If you know the truth, you don't have to do that too often. One of the reasons is because lying is a big deal right now. In this society, lying is super important. And I kind of forgot why it's important. So maybe we'll get to that. I'm just gonna try to skim you the top layer of everything that I have learned the past week. And that's really fast. It's like that for a long time now, that I'm learning things really fast. Relationships just would get me stuck in some stupid shit. Except that exploring other people's Facebook profiles, for example, that's a big deal. You can dig a lot of information from that, a lot of life. So even though I don't have a life, other people are still investing in creating their digital life, which is still no life, and my no life tag becomes some life, because people who have a lot of life still invest so much effort to kind of explain how it works. So that's the whole point behind exploring social medias. You learn a lot of stuff from other people. It challenges yourself. So self-esteem. I will call self-love self-esteem, because that's more common, and you kind of have to know the connection. So self-esteem is a huge thing. It's a huge thing, and it makes much more sense to call it that way. It's much more common, and you naturally get the mindset of what's going on a little better. Because self-esteem works when you are dealing with other people and someone thinks that they are better than you. But that can only happen when you're connected with them, when they dry you of ability to choose, when they enslave you. They can manipulate your self-esteem. But otherwise, they can do that through lying. They want to impose a threat. They want to create a lie that would manipulate you. That was the whole point about why lying is so important. Because people are independent. And one thing that makes people independent is money. That's a shocker. You should let that sink in, because I'm going to give you an example of what happened to me very, very recently. And it's a very simple example, but I know this happens so much that, and it explains everything. How money can set you free simply because we have adopted this thing, and it gives people the freedom that we needed. We just determine how much value another person has, and this is all we needed to do. We just needed to evaluate people, and we already have a system that works in order to give people the freedom. However, if people don't know how the system works, if people are being lied to, they will not know that they are free. Their self-esteem is going to be destroyed. And this is still possible if you lose a job or something and you cannot get a job anymore. Even though that's the whole system is about extracting resources from the planet and distributing them. And if you cannot place yourself in that, it's kind of like you deserve it, but at the same time, it is so important to have a job. You have to be in this chain. Oh. Yes, there's a bunch of food out there, but everyone is gathering it. So you have to be in the chain of that community. Yeah, it's very tough to look from that perspective. If you are threatened with the loss of the job, and a lot of people are, and this is a lie, because this is the only reason why it's a lie, though, that works, because it's not really 100% a lie. I mean, you're not going to create your own business most of the time, even though it's very easy, possibly very easy, if you put your mind into doing so. Also, if you put your mind into embracing someone else's business, then you can just branch out, do your own thing. Although, again, it's this monopolizing, this crazy shit that's going on, it makes things a lot more complicated. To get into that chain, you basically get a job in a big corporation, which is still failing, and will still have to split at some point. The only reason why corporations are not failing is because of the same thing. They're too big to fail. They are growing because they're popular, and they're trustworthy because there's a lot of people working under. But just like NASA with the flat Earth, it's just gonna completely explode into smaller groups of whoever cares about space exploration and all that crap. It is going to split up in a lot of tiny groups over time. Some people are possibly already trying to figure out an alternative to working in NASA. And the same goes for every single big thing out there. is just gonna completely collapse the same way, because the lies only grow bigger. Nobody wants to admit the truth because that would create vulnerability. This is the only reason why these big corporations are able to survive. They're not creating vulnerabilities for themselves. They're not very inviting, so to speak. And they create exactly the same type of environment for other people to train them to be liars. And so the whole thing is just continuing on. And it is doomed to be collapsed. It's pretty fun. It's going to be pretty fun to watch. It's not the main event at the moment. The way I see it, I mean, I have a clock, a very clear clock of what events are going to happen. Not necessarily exactly how they're going to play out, but I kind of know how the cycle works. So we're going to peak, we're going to understand a lot of truths, and then we're going to experience something very awkward, some kind of downfall, but not like those big corporations are gonna do some nasty things to try to survive, but and that will create another environment where they can still thrive again, but not lie anymore, which is very awkward because that's exactly what we want in order to destroy these corporations. So they will come up with a model where they are not lying anymore. They cannot be caught anymore, because if you ask questions, they will have to answer, or they can't like really actually hide anything at all anymore. So they will have to answer in a way that would repel us to question anything. It's very interesting what's supposed to happen. We're gonna reach morality out of all this chaos left and right, creating all this chaos. We're gonna reach morality. That's fine at some point, but this is only gonna hide the lie even further, to the point where morality can grow faster, so to speak. Where people like me and other good people are not going to be left out for no stupid reason, and no liars are going to be like much more powerful and be capable of just throwing people like us away. So that's going to solidify in a few years, and then robots will come as well. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to help. It's going to be really helpful. Now, which story should I pitch in for the ending? I'll leave Naruto out. I can talk a little bit more about myself. We can see that I talked about the future a lot, so that's one of those, the third part of the cycle. And the fourth would be Creeper's Forge, which is, I don't want to mix in the Creeper's Forge again after the last video. So yeah, we just talk about the future. So for the ending, I'm gonna give you guys the ultimate insight about the money, the experience that I had. So I have to go to work. I'm called in. I have decided to work 2 days a week, and I have already done my thing, but I'm still called in to go to work tomorrow. It's emergency stuff where a message still works. I mean, it never not worked, but I know this is a little bit more intimidation than an emergency. So, and a Lithuanian was calling me, so she was talking in that language, which I totally despise, but I still kind of went along because it's so hard to communicate. It is so incredibly hard to communicate. And one thing that helps people communicate is money. You just say, so, give me a better price, give me a better deal, and I will make the deal. If you're just pleasing and you're like, please, 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 that's exactly what happened. That's it. Just please, come on, man. Can you go to work? Please, dude. Oh my god, there's so many things, bad things happening to me. We're totally not related. You're not giving me a deal. You're just asking me. And you should not fall for that. This is the thing that you should not fall for, because that's the lie. They're asking you nicely. That's the last thing they can do. That's the last form of the lie. Because everyone has freedom, everyone has distance, so no violence, no intimidation can work, because you already have options. So the last thing they can do is try to be nice. Don't fall for that either. Alright, let's go to the next video.